Hi there, my name is Matt Cole, one of the producers of the Sexperts podcast, along with my partner, Brian Garrity. Before I begin the show, I just want to give a huge thanks to our guest during this episode, Chad Johnson of Apocalypse Wow Improv Comedy. You can see them perform at the Push Comedy Theater next month, June 23rd at 8 p.m., doing some Whose Lines It Anyway style short-form games. And also, you can check out me and Chad tomorrow, Sunday the 28th at 8 p.m. at the Push Comedy Theater. We're going to do an entire improvised movie in 30 minutes, so check that out. Also, if you are a regular listener of this podcast, please give us a review on iTunes and send us your topics and questions at therealsexperts@gmail.com. Without further ado, everything you're about to hear is made up on the spot. Please enjoy another episode of The Sexperts. And intro music, and hi there, welcome to the Sexperts. I am your host, as always, Dr. John T. Alanese, CPM.
And I am Delilah Haydare, and you may have met me before. I'm a kayak guide in the Elizabeth River in Norfolk, Virginia.
I always enjoy your kayak guidings.
Lots of information.
You're like a spiritual guide, my friend. And we're coming to you live outside of the McDonald's at 5 Points. That's an area in the 757, if you aren't familiar, for our global listeners. And me and Delilah here. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say where 5 roads come together.
Yeah. It's literally what it sounds like. 5 Points, 5 roads.
Yeah.
The $5 footlongs.
5
for 5, or whatever their thing is at McDonald's.
That's just a great number.
Yeah.
2 5s equals 10, which is, that'll blow your mind for weeks.
God, you must have taken algebra. And as always, we're here every week talking about a different topic of the day in regards to modern love, sexuality, romance, divorce, love, anything you can think of. And our topic for today is too much friction. Too much friction. Because sometimes in lovemaking and life, there can be too much friction.
Too much of a good thing.
Too much of a good thing. But before we get into that topic of the day, I'd like to introduce our host, who is just coming out of the McDonald's with...
Our guest.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm the host.
I'd like to introduce myself.
Again. Oh, hi there, Dr. John. Oh, hi, Dr. John. I used to do puppetry, not ventriloquism.
Yeah, you were great at that.
Yeah, I had a little me, in my lap and stuff, but...
Again, that's one of the arts that's lost on podcasting.
That's right. I wish I could bring my ventriloquist on, but you can't see it
because
there's
no video here, so you can't
no
see that he's actually throwing his voice.
But what we do have is our special guest for the day, and he's walking up right now. Whoa, you bought a lot in the Mickey D's, sir. Hi, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Bonnie. I'm a balloon artist, and I'm expanded my horizons. I bought 3 different types of sandwiches today.
That is a great way to move into different horizons through sandwich.
That is so great. And we're having you on here today because of your expertise and your background in too much friction. But I have to just ask a very simple question. You said your name was Bonnie, as in like Barney or Bonnie? You have an accent here.
Bonnie.
Like Hurricane Bonnie?
As in BRNIE, body.
Wait, this is not clearing things up.
BRNIE?
BRNIE. Bernie?
So that's how Bonnie Raitt spells it, right?
You actually sound a little bit like Bonnie Raitt.
Just like Madonna.
You just have one name?
MDDONA.
Well, it's...
Wow, I feel like I'm at a spelling bee.
There's probably nobody more well-equipped to speak on friction than a balloon artist who depends on friction to rub the balloon on the child's head so it sticks to the wall through...
kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy. Now, you sound like a learned man. Learned man. I'm having trouble with her. You sound like
You sound like a high school dropout.
God, would you shut up, Delilah? Listen. Okay. Wow, I'm getting very vulgar outside the McDonald's. This is weird.
Well, I've always said that junk food makes you angry.
Yeah, this is like that time we went to a Walmart and we started an argument in the aisles. I never start arguments.
Unless you're on junk food.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and... These chicken McNuggets are good. Why don't you go ahead and... usually people who come on our show like to plug something. What are you working on? What would you like to get out there in the world?
Any big balloon events coming up?
Yeah.
Well, there's this thing happening in Chesapeake. Gonna be some hot air. People gonna be hanging out in the baskets. and they're gonna fly away.
Oh my God, you do hot air balloon animals?
Yes, I got the helium tanks and the
I proposed to my wife.
sidecar.
I proposed to my wife in a hot air bunny rabbit.
Sounds so romantic.
It was romantic. We both dressed in togas.
So that's where those pictures were from. I thought you were at a costume party. That was your wedding?
No, that was my proposal.
Oh, your proposal. Sorry.
Yeah.
You have to get dressed up.
She said she'd always wanted to be in a hot air animal.
Did it lift her up where she belonged?
It certainly did, which was a life with me. But actually, it would turn out to be only about a 17-year life with me, as we're now talking about maybe getting divorced.
Oh, don't mention the. Listen,
no.
we had to. Well, speaking of divorce, too much friction. Too much friction is our topic for the day. Friction is one of those things that can either, when it comes between two people, it can be glorious or it
rubs you the wrong way.
It rubs you the wrong. You are a delight. By the way, your accent and your voice is you're dripping with personality. Where are you from?
Well, you talk about the 5 roads. We're out here in Portsmouth. Got the turnpike. Got the airline. This is my corner. I got my stands over there.
Are you a balloon artist affiliated with a gang?
Well,
Like an entire gang of balloon artists?
my balloons are only blue, but no. I just like blue.
For our podcast listeners, he just winked, so I think that means he's actually a part of a gang, which you probably can't see on air, but that's fine. That's fine.
And looking at the hot air orangutan that he has in this McDonald's parking lot that he's about to fly off in, it does look intimidating. It's sort of a L.A. Raiders vibe to it.
Well,
Ugh.
I did spend some time in the lovely borough of Compton.
Is that where you learned the
Balloon arts, the balloon artistry.
The lovely borough of Compton. I've never heard it described like that. You have a radio voice, my friend.
He's an artist. Let us not forget.
I took voice diction. I did take one class at Tidewater Community College, not a total dropout.
No, that's right. So I actually, we were in a class together. That's how we met originally. And I'm so glad I finally caught up to you. We were actually in a poetry class together. I know that you don't have much of an ego, which is great because artists sometimes, like Bono, he thinks he's the shit, But you have lovely poetry. You have a way with words. So
all the success of Bono without any of the ego issues.
You wrote me a poem one day.
I did.
I kept it. I keep it in my wallet.
That's who wrote that poem?
Yeah.
Oh, I've read this before.
Yeah.
This is, oh my God, I never thought I'd meet you.
Since we have it here, would you do us the pleasure of reading this poem?
Oh, I haven't seen this in years.
Yeah.
Doctor, bring me the news. I can't help but loving with you. Doctor, we're in the Muse. Don't forget about the writing center down the street. Of course, that's in Norfolk, not in Portsmouth.
Oh my God.
Poetry has this way of pulling out my feelings that I didn't even know I had.
I didn't know I could feel such way until I read that and listened to it.
Mm-hmm. When you showed up today,
yeah,
and I was there first, saving you a place in line,
yeah,
and you showed up 15 minutes late wearing blue head to toe.
Oh,
I'm like, what is going on? You're like, nothing. I want to wear blue. Why didn't you? Is this a gang thing?
It's just our favorite color.
It's just our favorite color, Delilah. Please,
you never wear blue.
Let's leave it at that.
You
Delilah.
won't even look at my eyes because they're blue. You hate blue.
Delilah, you don't want to go down this road, okay?
Literally.
See, there's only one road that you can go down here out of these 5 roads, and that's the exit road.
Ouch. Well, speaking of not wanting to go down that road, that brings us to our first sponsor. Mm-hmm. HRT, Hampton Roads Transit. They're the bus system here in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Yeah.
Their tagline is don't expect much and you won't be let down.
Which really, honestly, is...
It's on you, not us.
They are so open and honest,
They keep it real.
Unlike some of their
real fucking
toll roads, not open, not honest.
That's one way to avoid the tolls, by the way, that doesn't get talked about.
What?
Ride the bus.
Or ride a hot air balloon.
Or a hot air balloon.
Is there a lot of like fees or tolls in the air?
Well, the FHA has been thinking about this for several years. But right now we're free clear. Floating hot air. Association.
Agency.
FHAA.
You know, I forget some alphabets here.
Yeah.
BRNIE, BRNEY.
So you were saying the Floating Hot Air Agency. What do they say?
Yeah, they say that right now there's a war between getting the hot air out of Istanbul, and they're going to have to start tolling at some point.
Yeah, there's no such thing as free hot air from Istanbul.
No, definitely not.
I try to give you as much free hot air as possible, you know?
That's mighty generous of you.
Oh, God. You know, I ate too many nuggets. I feel awful. What's that sandwich you have there? Which one are you trying? Barney? Bonnie?
It's the Big Mac with the big fish. And then I got
It's like a suicide sandwich.
And then I got the dollar sundae. $1.50 now. I can't tell anymore. They keep raising the prices. No more dollar menu.
God, they are bleeding us dry. What are some of the costs?
Speaking of bleeding us dry. Let's don't forget to get back to our topic.
Oh, that's right. Too much friction. Yeah. As we know, friction keeps the
rubbing.
World,
yeah,
friction keeps the world turning around. But at some point, there will be too much friction.
Axis.
Do you guys?
The axis.
The axis of evil? What are you talking about?
The imaginary thing in the earth. We're spinning on the axis.
Oh, the axis.
Yeah, we are definitely spinning on an imaginary thing in the earth.
God, you know, for only taking one class, you know a lot about, geometry, geology.
TCC is really underrated as a community college.
That's right. Tidewater Community College, which is actually one of our sponsors. From here, go.
No,
just
go.
Get out.
Go where?
You don't have to. You don't have to go home.
Just go
from here, but you do have to go.
It's a long tagline, but it makes sense if you've ever been in Tidewater Community College.
Do you guys buy the extended warranties for your major appliances?
God, this is a loaded question.
Well, yeah, I'm in the market for a dishwasher.
Oh, okay.
And friction makes me think of moving parts.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, that water on the dishes. Oh.
Yeah.
What was that groan for? Is that getting you?
I'm just kind of getting into this topic.
Well, by all means. So you really, you're saying that extended warranties sort of do it for you?
I don't know about you, but just knowing that somebody's going to be around to fix it if something happens, ugh.
That is hot.
You like having something there for you, a backup, like a net. But how do you feel? Now, I know you send other people off in hot air balloons. Do you actually go up yourself, or is that too much kind of excitement?
Well, it depends how scared they are. Mm-hmm. If they're bad off, I tie a rope, and then I just kind of hang on to it while they're up in the air.
It's amazing he goes up at all, because I don't know if you know this about him, but he broke the world record for most time consecutive in a hot air balloon. He spent 7.5 years.
What?
Most of the Obama administration in a hot air balloon.
Well, I was waiting for Trump so I could come back down.
He almost, at year 4, he almost had to come down and get a hernia surgery. But they managed to work a surgeon up into the hot air balloon. He had his surgery up there, his recovery. It was amazing. Sort of like a Truman Show where you could watch the whole thing on webcam.
If you ever got a problem, the air in the sky's what ails you. Or cures the ailment. Is that it?
Well, that's the thing is like some things can be good for you and then some things can be bad for you at the same time. It's like water. You drink too much water, you'll die, but you need water to live.
Right.
You never eat a chicken McNugget, you're going to live a boring life, but you eat 4 of them and you're going to feel like shit. Like
God. Can you guys excuse me? I need to number one.
One of the curious things about your 7.5 year,
I think.
One of the curious things about your 7.5 year stint in the hot air balloon was 3 of your children were born while you were up there.
Yeah.
Have you had any suspicions, any DNA testing? Like, it seems odd that you could procreate 3 times. I mean, I never shut the webcam off. I would have known if you were having sex up there.
I'm an amoeba. I'm, that thing where, what do they call it? asexual.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. You just take care of it yourself, and
so you just willed these children into existence?
The world just happens. I mean, you have to try to make it happen.
Oh, my God. Is that why that inflatable orangutan in the parking lot there says immaculate? Is that like a shout-out to your kids that you weren't conceived through traditional sex?
Well, if anybody knows me, they know I wasn't getting any. So this was the best
we all
I could
knew
do.
you. We all had you on webcam.
And with me and my hot air, I was able to just make it happen.
It's amazing. Probably the most touching moment was when they lifted your mom up in that cherry picker, so she could say goodbye to you before she died. I really admired that.
That was the most touching moment of my life. I just knew I couldn't come down to see her.
No,
but they lifted her up. Oh, I just had the tears of joy and air coming down my face.
It was probably the most epic moment of webcamming that I've ever seen. You know, on one hand, you've got Guinness Book of World Records, and on the other hand, you've got a dying mother that you're never going to see again. It's like, where does that come down? And for you to choose Guinness, I applaud you.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm back. Speaking of tears coming down your face, I had the most monstrous diarrhea I've ever had.
Congratulations.
I need to lay off the chicken McNuggets for another 8 years.
Yeah.
It happens. I didn't get any chicken McNuggets in the air.
7.5 years, not a single McNugget.
God. Yeah.
He ended up breaking the world record for longest without a McNugget by accident. It's not often you back into a Guinness Book of World Record.
So what do you have going on for you now? What's your next event? What's your next project? Are you going for another record? Talk to us about that.
Well, I got this little thing going on. I don't want to say too much. Don't want to ruin it for all my fans out there.
Well, don't want to make this an interesting podcast.
Yeah. We don't want to ruin anything. We don't want to bring any delight out here.
No.
I would say go for it.
Yeah.
There's no one listens to this.
I'm going to be going to Norfolk.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to be hosting the Hot Air Balloon Parade.
Oh my God. What a perfect fit.
Did we just break news here on the podcast? This is amazing.
You heard it here first, folks.
Oh, my God.
There's going to be one day for 8 minutes. You're going to see about 3-4 balloons float down the street. I've been working on this for 10 years while I was up in the sky.
That is one hell of a parade.
So there's only 3 balloons, 8 minutes, and you're working 10 years on this, you said?
And they're saying you need to get there like 4 or 5 hours early if you want a seat in the stands.
And we can only go down parts of Bush Street because of the lights. I tried for Granby Street, but they set those new lights up, the new lighting system.
It's like they're antagonistic to
anti-hot air balloon.
Yeah,
and to this day and age, it's odd.
You've been kind of making a stir, going to a lot of like town hall meetings and council meetings. You are an activist at this point. You are really one of the only people out there who is fighting for balloon rights.
Yes. I was at last week's council meeting. I ran into a couple of other famous people.
Talk about the act of civil disobedience you did at that meeting.
Yeah.
Well,
this is fascinating.
I tell you, I was inflating a hot air balloon during the meeting. Those things.
Yeah, usually they're not allow flammable objects in a city council meeting.
They didn't know. I kept it under my shirt. They don't check anything there. And I had a little mobile pump.
Which he invented, by the way.
And the balloon said, "Hot air balloon rights." But I didn't have time to get the whole thing blown up.
Yeah.
So it ended up saying hot air rights. I don't know, but it was good enough.
It was good enough. It still made the news.
Oh, my God. Well, speaking of making the news, our topic of the day.
A lot of the news.
A lot of the news about friction, too much friction. There's so many problems going on.
There's friction in between economic classes
and all kinds of stuff.
And there's those plates in the earth.
Tectonic plates?
Something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of shifting. There's a lot of moving around.
Do that with your hands again. Look at that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a DJ before?
The audience can't see this.
Yeah, the audience can't see this. That actually looks really a lot like the movements that a DJ would do. Have you ever been a DJ anytime?
No, but I used to do a lot of spinning when I was at home on my own. You know, it's just one of those things. You talk about rubbing and friction and spinning and...
Well,
oh my God.
My wife and I are looking for a DJ for our divorce.
You're bringing up the D word again. You're bringing this podcast down.
If that's not a celebration, I don't know what is.
Well, listen, we actually don't have any more time for any more talk about too much.
It's hard to stay on track when you got hot air balloons.
Absolutely, you. Thank you so much for coming out here. I'm so sorry I had to take a shit break and have this diarrhea all over the place, and I probably smell a little bit, but that's okay.
You can't smell it over the fries.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thanks for agreeing to take us for a spin in the orangutan.
Absolutely,
anytime.
I'm a little nervous, but Dr. John T is gonna hold my hand, so that should be good.
All right, well, that does it for another episode of the Sexperts. I am your host, Dr. John T. Alanese, CPM,
and I'm Delilah Haydair, and I'll be sending out invites to my divorce party shortly.
See you sex time.
And I'm Bonnie. Stay up and stay hot.